Hello, my name is Elizabeth Edmondson, and I'm here to talk about the well-known myth of adolescent behavior, that violent television programs and video games cause aggressive behavior in adolescents. Today, we'll be debunking this myth with evidence from psychologists and researchers in the field. We will also be exploring how this myth is portrayed in modern society and parenting. Additionally, we'll be talking to people who experience aggressive video games and parents of children who will play video games to get their opinions from someone with a front row seat. It would make sense that enriching oneself with violent media would cause violent behaviors, but is that true for adolescent behavior? First, we must see where the myth stemmed from. For that, we look to social media. Instagram posts claiming violent behaviors and the fight or flight response, published without any evidence, are common on Instagram. The lack of professionals and citations makes the posts untrustworthy for those who know who to look for. Another post on Facebook shows a picture of 2 MRI scans. This image is deemed unreliable due to the lack of accurate citations and no explanation on how this applies to adolescents and violent media. Finally, parenting is heavily involved with media affiliation in adolescents. Mothers' blogs like Mother's Connections have made many posts about adolescents and video games, claiming that they have negative aspects and effects on adolescents without the aid of professional citations. Now that we know where the myths stem from, let's go talk to people who understand what it's like to play violent video games and how their behavior is affected afterwards. For this, we'll visit the esports salons at Washburn University. Alright, we're with
Sam Revel.
Amazing. Do you play violent video games?
Yes, I do.
Do you feel like violent video games has made you more violent?
Not me specifically, no.
Does violent video games in general make adolescents more aggressive in your opinion?
Yeah, depending on how young they start playing. I started playing at 17, so that could have had a factor, but if I started playing at 12, who knows?
Any other comments?
None.
Alright, amazing. That's it. From the Royal Open Society, the image presented shows 0 correlations observed between violent video game media and aggressive adolescent behaviors. This study examined links between gaming and aggression using ratings derived from the North American Entertainment Software Rating Board, in addition to the European system. They noticed variations between gender and types of aggression. While certain people may react differently to violent video games, they noticed that the overwhelming majority showed 0 significance in correlation. What's your name?
Victoria.
Do you have children that play violent video games?
Yes, I do.
Do you think that makes them more aggressive in nature?
It did not affect my children.
Do you think it affects other children after playing those video games?
I do. I've had parents tell me how it affects their children in a negative way. I've also seen that the difference from when I was a child or, even later where we didn't have video games and we didn't also have a lot of gun violence.
In the article Blame Game by Andrew Fishman, he conducted 3 different tests to study the aggressive natures of adolescents and 3 different types of violent or aggressive games. His research concluded that the violence in video games is far from the only variable. He added that it might not be the content of the games, but rather than the reaction to losing or experiencing negative impacts while playing the games itself. He advises parents to monitor media and give appropriate games to the appropriate age groups to help with the aggressive natures that may be affiliated with violent or intense games. His proposal concludes that the violent nature of video games is not at fault, but rather than the reaction of the video games themselves, along with ensuring that the right age group adolescent is playing with the right games for the maturity level. In conclusion, avoid taking information solely from Facebook moms and ensure that information about your adolescent behavior comes from professionals educated in the field. And remember, playing Call of Duty isn't all that bad.
Son of a bitch!
He lost, didn't he? Thanks for watching! I learned when researching non-academic tidbits, it's important to realize that people who post online without any kind of information commonly come from a place of opinion or personal experience with one subject. So when parents and influencers comment on adolescent behaviors, they mainly talk about one adolescent behavior they've had experience with and implement that to the entire teenage group. It was interesting researching academic articles about this topic. Many professionals have different opinions about adolescents and violent video games. While the research presents itself as violent video games not being completely at fault, it is interesting to research and see the different opinions that professionals have had. As mentioned in the PSA, it depends on how the adolescent reacts and the parents' guardian's job to teach them how to understand violent media.